What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying life today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2023 GMC Canyon AT4X. Huge thank you to Paul Van Horn over at Koons, Tysons, Chevy, Buick, GMC for allowing me to do this video for you guys today. If you are interested in this particular Canyon or any GM product with the exception of Cadillac, I'll be sure to have Paul's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. Before we get into the video, I wanted to give you guys a little weather report. Not that you care, but anyways, it's mostly cloudy, a little bit breezy, a little bit chilly, hence why I have my sweatshirt on. But like usual, first we're going to talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2023 GMC Canyon AT4X, and this particular one has been painted in the optional $495 sterling metallic exterior paint. A couple things that I wanted to preface this video with is that basically for 2023, the Canyon as a whole got an interior and an exterior refresh. And by the way, the crew cab short box is the only configuration that you can get on the Canyon, across the Canyon lineup. Even if you get an elevation, crew cab short box, again, the only configuration. And then all Canyon models except for the elevation are four-wheel drive as standard. So on the elevation, you can get two-wheel drive. On the AT4, the AT4X, and the Denali, four-wheel drive is standard. So a couple things that you do get as standard with the AT4X, you get LED projector headlights with IntelliBeam, as well as LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, and LED fog lights. Now, I do want to take a step back again and just show you what this thing looks like from the front three-quarter angle. It kind of reminds me of a Ram TRX. I know that may trigger a few of you, but the reason that I'm saying that is because this has very similar tires to the TRX. It has a very similar stance with that wide body appearance to the TRX. And then when I stand up next to it, it's very tall like the TRX. It's not as tall as the TRX because the TRX is a half-ton truck. This is not. But it's just, it gives me the same feeling as the TRX that I had did. But anyways, moving on from there, I know that may have, triggered a couple of you. But anyways, starting up here at the front end, I want to talk about looks. So basically, you get a satin black front grille with black chrome / bronzish accents. So basically, the backing of your grille is satin black. And then you can see these U-shaped pieces right here, kind of like a mix of like black, chrome, and bronze. It's not going to pick up on camera, but anyways, that's what that looks like there. And then you can see you also get these satin black sideways U-shaped trim pieces on the outsides of your front grille as well. So you can see kind of like that sideways U right there in satin black, GMC lettering at the center of your front grille. Then you have your AT4X badging on the lower right hand side of your front grille as well. Just beneath your M right here is where you will find your forward facing camera. That forward facing camera works with your 360 degree view camera system that you get as standard with the AT4X. So that is a very nice feature that again you get as standard with the AT4X. And then coming down just a little bit, moving on from there, you get a body color front bumper as well as a gloss black lower grille. One thing that's kind of interesting is that I've done a video with the standard AT4, and this piece on the standard AT4 is satin black, where again they kind of spiff it up here on the AT4X and they give you that gloss black lower grille. And then coming down just a little bit more from there, you also get a gray valance down here with two integrated frame mounted recovery hooks that are painted in red. Here's a closer look at what they look like. That's on that side, that's on that side. And then a couple things that I wanted to mention that you get as standard with the AT4X, or I guess that you could say what makes the AT4X is that you get front heavy duty skid plates as well as a transfer case shield. You also get a full locking front differential and a factory 3-inch lift with an ultra wide stance, which is, like I said, kind of reminds me of the TRX. So you can see this thing is really, really wide. It's got a wider track than I believe the elevation. So you can see very, very wide. I love the way it looks. It's a baby Ram TRX. I know that's going to trigger some of you, but that's just, the way that it is. If you take a look at one of these in person, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyways, coming back over to here, you can see you get these bumper cutouts on your front bumper, and that's basically for a better approach angle. So let's say you're approaching a rock and the rock is about right here. You can see you get probably an extra, maybe foot of clearance here with these bumper cutouts in front of your front wheels. Very, very nice. And then another thing to keep in mind is that with that 3-inch factory lift, you get a ground clearance of 10.7 inches. Very, very capable to, as a truck to take this thing off-road, but it also has really good on-road manners as well, which is very important for a daily driver slash off-roader. And then one thing I did want to point out is that this vehicle has been optioned with the $500 underbody cameras, which basically gives you a view of your front wheels underneath and your rear wheels underneath. I'll show you what that looks like on screen right now, and I'll also show you where the cameras are on screen right now underneath, or mounted underneath the vehicle. But moving on from there, you get these satin black wheel arch moldings. You also get side marker lights. You can see they do say GMC on them. Another thing that makes the AT4X the AT4X is that you get Multimatic DSSV dampers, which basically are ready to take on any sort of serious terrain that you're going to throw at this, but also give you a nice comfortable-ish ride. When you're off-road, you're bouncing around, but it's just going to make it just a little bit more comfortable. They soak up bumps very, very well, and they're just going to dampen. I believe there's like 3 damping things, so when it's just in its normal mode, it rides normally, but then it has like, I don't know, I'll put it on screen right now exactly what the Multimatic DSSV dampers do. But moving on from there, these are the standard wheels you get with the AT4X, and they are a 17-inch gloss black with machine finish wheel, and they are wrapped in 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT tires. If you are not a fan of the way that these wheels look, there is one other wheel option, but that does come a part of the Edition 1 package, so it is rather pricey. I actually do like the way that these standard wheels look, but the other ones are like a beadlock capable wheel. But these are the tire, or this is the tire tread, excuse me. You can see the sidewall on these tires as well. Tire tread again. That is what that looks like. Moving on from there, let's talk about our side view mirrors. So you get gloss black mirror caps, and as standard, these side view mirrors are heated, manual folding. You get your blind spot monitoring on the upper left-hand side of your driver's side mirror and on the upper right-hand side of your passenger side mirror. You also get memory settings with these side view mirrors as well. So you get 2 driver seat memory settings. So not only does it memorize your driver seat settings, it also memorizes your side view mirror settings as well. Very, very nice. And then last but not least, you also get that camera on the bottom of your side view mirrors as well. Again, those work with your 360-degree view camera system. Again, that 360 camera does come standard with the AT4X. Now, here's a little side profile shot of this thing. This is a big truck. Don't get it wrong. I know it's a mid-sized truck, but standing here on the side, especially with that factory 3-inch lift, by the way, this thing looks like it's leveled, which is very, very nice. Sometimes you get that rake on half-ton trucks, especially on F-150s and Silverados and stuff, but this looks level. By the way, it also looks like a half-ton truck here from the side. Maybe not quite, but it does at the same time. But anyways, moving on from there, you do get satin black window trim at the top, then you get gloss black window trim here on the bottom. You also get body color door handles with keyless access. Just keep in mind, the keyless access function is only on your front 2 door handles. Then also only on your front 2 doors is where you'll find your AT4X badging. And then as standard with the AT4X, you get these black rock sliders. Here's a view of what these look. These are probably some of the most aggressive rock sliders that I've ever seen on a vehicle, on a truck. You can see the welds could be a little bit better, but those look like hand welds. So I'm gonna give this thing a pass, and honestly, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up for that. But you can see, look how aggressive those rock sliders are here on the side. I'm telling you, this thing is out of the box, ready to go and tackle some sort of, off-road terrain. But it, again, also rides very well on-road, which is very important to me, at least. But opening this up, you get your capless filler neck down in there, closing that back up. Up top here, you get a manual sliding rear window. That is one con to this vehicle, in my opinion. I think that should be a power sliding rear window. Then you have your satin black antenna up top there. Here is a rear 3/4 shot of this vehicle. I did want to show you, you also get the Multimatic rear dampers back here as well. That is what that looks like. You can see your leafs, and then you also get a spare tire down underneath there. Moving on from there, as standard with this vehicle, you get LED taillights. And then you can see you got your tailgate badging in chrome, GMC lettering in red. And then you have your backup camera right there. You have your tailgate keyed lock cylinder right there. And then if you wanted to open up your tailgate, open that up, you get a assisted tailgate, nice and dampened. Very, very nice. And then also, as standard with the AT4X, you get spray on bed liner. That is what this bed liner looks like. AT4X embossed into the front of the bed area. You also get a 120 volt household power outlet here in the bed as well. You get 8 tie down hooks total, 2 in each corner, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Good amount of storage space here in the bed, and then you also get some tailgate storage. Flick this to the right, flick this to the right, and then you get some tailgate storage underneath here. You can basically set jumper cables or snacks or GoPros, stuff like that. Just be mindful that this is not 100% waterproof. So, you know, if you put jumper cables in there, they may rust, they may not. You know, just be mindful again about what you set underneath there. And then I also get like a yardstick right here as well. I believe that's a yardstick anyway. It goes up to 48 inches. Not the best with math, but closing that right back up and coming down just a little bit, you also get a body color rear bumper back here as well. One thing that's interesting, I did a video with the AT4, standard AT4, and that had the corner step rear bumper. You may notice that this one does not get the corner step rear bumper. You also get 4 integrated parking sensors back here. You get a 4 and 7 pin connector for trailering. So you get your 4-pin connector up here on the top, you get your 7-pin connector there on the bottom. Here is your trailer hitch. You get a spare tire down there. It looks like a full-size spare tire to me. And then a couple other things I wanted to mention is that you get a max tow capacity with the AT4X of 5,500 pounds, so not quite as capable as the AT4, as the Denali, as the Elevation. Those get a 7,700 pound max tow capacity if you spec them correctly. And then also a couple other things. You get a locking rear differential that you can lock yourself. It is not auto locking. You push it by a button, so that is definitely a win. You also get a 2-speed transfer case and a 342 rear axle ratio with this vehicle. I've been trying to do a video with an AT4X for quite some time. It's been kind of hard to nail down because as soon as these things pop on the lot, they're sold pretty much instantly. So I'm very happy to do a video with one of these here today. And honestly, this is a really bad truck. I love the way it looks. I really like the way that it drives. And if I had the money, I'd probably buy one of these things myself. No BS. I truly do mean that. Anyways, with that stuff out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood reveals that 2.7 liter turbo high output 4-cylinder that makes 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission for a 0 to 60 time in 6.5 seconds. And if you were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 16 miles per gallon in the city, 16 miles per gallon on the highway for 16 miles per gallon combined with standard 4-wheel drive. I know those fuel economy numbers are really not all that great, but what can you expect? This thing is going to tackle the off-road. It's got big tires on it, so it's not quite as bad as the Ram TRX. I know that has a supercharged 6.2 liter V8. This has a 4-cylinder, but this thing is plenty powerful. If you get this thing out on the road, it's actually surprisingly quick, surprisingly peppy. But I think those fuel economy numbers, they got to raise those up just a little bit. Give me at least 17 in the city and at least, you know, 21 on the highway like you get with the standard AT4. But anyways, if you guys are enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot get there without your support. I'm like 50 subscribers away from 20,000, which is insane. Thank you guys so much for your support. It truly means the world to me that I can do this as a job. So thank you to each and every one of my current subscribers, commenters. I see you guys. I truly do appreciate you. So thank you very much. But anyways, with that stuff out of the way, let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, like I mentioned earlier in the video, you do get keyless access. So all you have to do is have your key fob in your pocket, walk up to the vehicle, press on this button right here, and the vehicle will unlock. You can also lock the vehicle by pressing that very same button, and now the vehicle is locked. I did want to walk you through a couple of the functions on the key fob. So like any other key fob, you have your unlock, your lock, and your panic function, but you also do get remote start as standard with this vehicle. So if you wanted to remote start it, you press this lock button and then press this button twice, and she fires up. Now, I absolutely love the way that this interior looks, and this interior is called Obsidian Rush. It looks absolutely phenomenal here in person. But I'll get to that here in a second because I want to start with our door panel. So at the top of the door panel, you get some satin black plastic. You get a chrome looking door handle. You have your unlock and your lock functions, 2 memory seat adjustment settings. You get some faux carbon fiber looking trim. All of this area is leather wrapped. Then you get a nicely padded armrest, some red accent colored stitching. You get some of that white leather with the red. And then coming over here, you have your side view mirror controls, automatic up and down driver window. All the other windows are automatic down only. You get a spot you could set a phone and a water bottle down here. Last but not least, you get a speaker on your door as well. But now, taking a look at our driver's seat, this is what the driver's seat looks like. You get power adjustable front seats with power lumbar for both. You also get your AT4X embossed into the bolster as well. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I love the red accents, excuse me, on the seat. But one thing about this rock slider is that it makes it a little bit more difficult to step in and out of the vehicle. So you can see you really got to take a step up here into this vehicle, because again, it is got a 3-inch factory lift. So it is, you know, rather-ish difficult to step in and out, especially with that rock slider right there. But again, you know what you're getting yourself into when buying this vehicle. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down here, and then I'm going to work my way throughout the interior. So coming down here, you have your integrated trailer brake controller. Coming up just a little bit, this is to brighten and or dim your gauge cluster as well as your backlit buttons. This is what your HVAC vent looks like. You get that red, you get that satin chrome. It looks awesome. Then you also get a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel with this vehicle. So basically you can bring the steering wheel towards you. You can push the steering wheel away from you. And then you can also move it up and down until you find your comfortable position. Push back up on that, and then that will lock it into position. Now, let's take a listen to our turn signal. That is what the turn signal sounds like on this vehicle. This is also your high beam control stock and your windshield wiper control stock. So if you wanted the windshield to just like wipe once to get something off of it, you do a slight press on that and then it just wipes it. If you want it to wash it, you got to do a push a little bit more, and then it's going to wash the windshield. But moving on from there, taking a zoom back, this is what your steering wheel looks like. It is leather wrapped. You get some red accent colored stitching on the inside of the steering wheel, and like any other vehicle, you have your horn at the center. So let's take a listen to it. That is what the horn sounds like on the GMC Canyon. As standard with the AT4X, you get adaptive cruise control. So here are your adaptive cruise control settings. And then also on the back side of this steering wheel here, you have your tuning controls. And then on the back side of the steering wheel on this side, you have your volume controls, volume up and volume down. Now, I do want to walk you through these controls now. So basically, that is to speak to the vehicle. Pushing up is going to pick up on a phone call. Pushing down is to hang up on a phone call. I'm going to have to go into demo mode so I get access into these buttons here. But basically, if I press this music button right here, basically when I click that, it's going to pop up my music stuff on screen over there. Give me a second. Now I turn it, yeah, now it's gonna pop up. So I just had to go into FM. So you can see when I click that, it's gonna pop up my radio stuff. If I wanted to navigate throughout that, I have these controls here. So go down, let's say I wanted to go into XM, right? I click over to XM, and then I just push down on that button, and then that's gonna bring me into my XM stuff. So basically, to navigate throughout that screen, you have this control here, and then this is to turn your heated steering wheel on or off, and then this is going to bring you in between your different screens here on your screen. So I guess we might as well go throughout this screen now. So as standard with this vehicle, you get an 11-inch digital dash, and this is what your digital dash looks like. So this is one of the screens. You get your speedometer on this side with your digital speedometer readout at the center, and then over here you get your tachometer, transmission status stuff at the center. You get your coolant temperature gauge. You have your oil stuff down here. You have your trans fluid temperature, fuel gauge over there. That is your fuel range. That's letting us know that we are in two-wheel drive. So that's your transfer case status stuff. Then you have your parking status stuff down there as well, transmission status. Got your compass over there, ambient exterior temperature, and then you have your trip 1 and trip 2 information there at the center. Moving on from that, if you click here, it's going to pop up your Google Maps stuff. If you want to drive with Google Maps, turn on location stuff. So I got to turn on location. So basically you can put your Google Maps stuff throughout that screen. Click in one more time. This is basically another one of those screens. So you get your G meter, digital speedometer readout. You get your tachometer that goes across the top, kind of like what you'd find on like a sports car. And then you have your transmission status stuff, trans fluid, fuel range, and basically all the other stuff I already pointed out. Clicking on that one more time is going to pop up this screen. So this is kind of like your off-road screen. You got your compass, you got your pitch and roll stuff over there, you get your steering angle, transfer case, status stuff, and then all the other stuff I already mentioned. Clicking this one more time, this is your calm screen. And then this is just your other screen, tack at the center, digital speedometer readout at the center of your tack, audio stuff, and then you have your trip 1 and trip 2 information over there on that side, and then all the other stuff, minus, I believe, the trans fluid temperature and your oil stuff. Clicking this one more time will bring you back into the screen that we started on. And that's kind of about it for your digital gauge cluster. Coming up, also as standard with this vehicle, you get a 6.3-inch head-up display system, and that is your head-up display system up top there. Right now, it is displaying the digital speedometer readout. I believe to go throughout your head-up display settings, you have to navigate throughout this screen. So I'll get into that as we progress along in this video. Sorry, I'm getting a little hot with my sweatshirt on. Then you have your push button start button right there. Green means the vehicle is on. And then coming up to here, you do get a 7-speaker Bose sound system as standard with this vehicle. And the Bose sound system in this sounds absolutely awesome. It is a very good sound system. And I've been in pretty much all of the new Colorados and all of the new Canyons with the Bose, without the Bose is absolutely worth it. Even though the standard sound system isn't too bad, honestly, it actually sounds pretty decent. For me, I like listening to music in my cars, and I like to turn it up a little bit. So the Bose is definitely worth the upgrade for me. If I was going to get one of the other trim levels that had the Bose as an option with the AT4X, the Bose is standard. Coming over to here, one thing about the AT4X is you can see you get this like red accenting throughout the vehicle. So on your volume control knob, you get that red accenting. On your temperature controls, you get the red accenting. But one thing that's interesting is I've caught myself a couple times like turning this knob to mess with the volume stuff when I realized that the knob is up top here. Not a big deal. But just thought I would point that out. But moving over to here, this is your 11.3-inch infotainment system with built-in navigation and wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. So on this side of the screen, you have your different shortcut buttons. That is basically to like do like the Hey Google thing. It's like Google's version of Siri.
You'll need a data
so you
plan
can see.
From your vehicle manufacturer.
Anyways, that's what it's telling me there. So basically, Hey Google. It's gonna pop. See what I'm saying? So you can just say that, and basically it'll pop up. But anyways, if you click that, it's gonna do the same thing. Coming down just a little bit more, this is basically gonna bring you into your vehicle stuff. I do want to go throughout this stuff first. Then you have your phone stuff, nav stuff, audio stuff, and your home button. But this is basically where you find your vehicle control. So the observant viewer may be able to note that you do not get physical headlight control. So this is another con to this vehicle. Not really that big of a deal because all you have to do is click that light button, and that light button is always on the screen and it always works every time. But if you wanted to go deeper into your light controls, like your high beam or your fog lights and stuff like that, it's kind of like a double thing you got to click. You got to click here, then you got to click down here, then you got to go into your lights, and then you can control your fog lights, your cargo lights, your automatic high beams, and your headlight stuff. So it would be easier with a physical control. You can also go into your traction control stuff here, your hill descent control on or off stuff. You can go into your doors and locks. So if you wanted to do your power window lockout, you also have to go throughout this screen. So kind of but basically, as soon as you click that button, this is the screen you see. You can turn your automatic high beams on. You can turn your reverse sensors on or off. You get your hill descent control stuff. You can pop up your head-up display stuff. With the head-up display, you can adjust the brightness, you can adjust the height, and you can adjust the rotation. So the height is up and down. The rotation is like this. So, and then you can also turn it on or off by the push of that button. Now it's off. Now it is back on, and that is that for those vehicle controls. Then you have your phone stuff. One thing I do like about this vehicle is that you do get a wireless charging pad as standard, and your wireless charging pad is down here. But pay attention to the phone when I set my phone on the wireless charging pad. It might take a second, but basically you get that green lightning bolt signifying that your phone is charging. Very, very nice little thing, and I appreciate little things like that. Then you get your temperature and your time up top there. This is one of your screens. Again, it is showing the green lightning bolt right there on your phone stuff. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, again, both are wireless. You can bring up your climate control stuff on this screen if you wanted to. That is what it looks like when it is on. But when I turn that on, it messes with the audio. You also get a Wi-Fi hotspot as standard with this vehicle. I love GM vehicles for that reason. Their Wi-Fi hotspot works absolutely phenomenally. So love the Wi-Fi hotspot. You can go into your vehicle status, showing you your brake pad life, showing you your oil life. So you can go into your tires and brakes. You can go into your fluids and filters. You can go into your engine stuff, battery voltage, coolant temperature, trans fluid temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature, trip stuff, G-force stuff. So that is what those things do. You can also go into air down mode. Basically, when you set your target air pressure, it's going to honk the horn once that air pressure is achieved. So very, very cool system. You set it to 35 pounds. Let's say you're airing down from 38. Once you get to 35, it'll go beep, beep, letting you know that it is ready to go. Moving on from there, you get your off-road stuff. I might as well show you this screen because this is the AT4X. So this is your Baja screen. This is your terrain screen. And this is your overlanding screen. Then if I click right here, you can pop up your camera stuff. I'm gonna get into that here in 1 second because this does have the $500 underbody cameras, but I wanna get into this here first. My GMC, you can set service appointments. Now let's go throughout our camera system. So you can see 360 cam comes standard with this vehicle, but I wanted to show you this because this is very interesting. So if you click either of these two buttons, it's going to show you your underbody. So right now that is showing me my front wheels and tires. So when I turn the wheel, you can see the wheels are moving there on screen. You can see that. And then you can click that, and then that's showing me my rear wheels. And you can see the drive shaft there and the rear wheels. Coming over to here, this is another camera view. That's your front camera, and then that is your front wheels. So when you turn the wheels are moving. Clicking that one more time, that is your front wheels. Those are your rear wheels. And just pretty cool. Let's say you're trying to avoid a rock. You don't have a spotter because you're off-roading by yourself. This is a very nice thing to have. Might be a little extra, but it's definitely nice to have. And then if you click that, it is going to wash your cameras. But anyways, that's about it for that screen. Coming down just a little bit more, you get dual zone climate control as standard. I like how it reads the temperatures here on your temperature control knobs. That is what your climate control stack looks like. It is all gloss black. If you wanted to keep all this gloss black stuff clean, you would get a product called O&R. You basically would wet a microfiber, wipe that down, and then hit it with a dry microfiber, and then that will clear it right back up. I'll put a link to that in the description box down below. 2 HVAC vents down here, and then what makes the AT4X the AT4X are basically these two buttons right here. So this is to lock your rear axle, and then this is to lock your front and your rear axle. Very, very nice feature. A lot of like off-road, legit off-road trucks don't even have it. Like the Ram TRX does not have a locking front axle. Then you have your auto stop start button, you got your hazard button, you have your lane keep assist button, you have your auxiliary button right here. So if you have a light bar, you wire your light bar up to this switch, and then you can turn the light bar on or off with that switch right there. And then this button right here is to roll all the windows down at the same time. But one thing that's interesting about this is that it does not roll all the windows back up. So kind of a oversight. I wish it would roll all the windows back up at the same time, but it does not. Then USB-A port, USB-C port, wireless charging pad as standard. This is your drive mode selector, as well as your transfer case stuff. So you can go into 2 high, 4 low, 4 high, and 4-wheel drive automatic. To switch in between the different drive modes, you just twist. So now I got my off-road mode, I got my tow haul mode, I got my terrain mode, I got my Baja mode, and I have my normal mode. So basically, if you click right there, it's gonna tell you what the normal driving mode does. It'll tell you what the off-road mode does. It'll tell you what the tow haul mode does, so on and so forth. So you can read through all of that stuff. But anyways, coming down, you have your low mode there. Pull up on that. That will engage your parking brake. You get 2 cup holders here, and then in between those 2 cup holders, you have a great spot that you could set a phone if you wanted to. Then you get a nicely padded armrest with some red accent colored stitching. You get a divider down in here. Taking that divider out is where you will find your 12-volt power outlet. And I'd say you probably have about 10 inches of depth down in that center console. Coming over to here, this is what your dash looks like. You get that faux carbon fiber trim, the AT4X badging. It looks sick. Then you get the white leather, the red accent colored stitching. Then you get a glove box down here. The glove box is not lockable, by the way, but you get a decent amount of storage space in that glove box. Auto dimming rear view mirror. You get your OnStar stuff up top here. Passenger airbag on or off. Driver gets a light, passenger gets a light, both of which are halogen. And then you have your light status stuff, whether you want the lights to turn on or not when you open up the doors. And then if I click that, that is basically like your instant dome light on button. And then this vehicle has been optioned with the $1,000 sunroof. So here are your sunroof controls. This is to tilt the sunroof, this is to close the sunroof, this is to slide the sunroof, and this is to close the sunroof. So right now the sunroof is tilted, then you can slide it closed. You get a manual shade. You can also close on both sides, like I mentioned, but then this is to slide the sunroof. So you can see the sunroof is going to slide all the way. That is how far the sunroof opens. And then that is about it for that. You get a clip up top here. You can set money, registration, or any paper product. You get a vanity mirror with 2 vanity lights, and then your visor slides forwards and backwards. backwards. Definitely nice. And I do believe that's a Bluetooth mic pickup for your Bluetooth phone. You get one over there as well. You can see the driver does not get an OPU panel up top here or on your A-pillar, but the passenger gets an OPU panel on the A-pillar, but not up top there. Really, that's kind of about it for these front seats. I will have to say, these seats are actually pretty comfortable. You know, sometimes GM kind of has a stigma of having firmer seats than one would like, and I would say that these seats are comfortable, but they are on the firmer side of things. But they are comfortable. Like, I don't have any complaints about these seats, whereas in some Silverado, some of the Yukons and Suburbans and stuff, I have complained about them. I don't think these warrant a complaint because they are comfortable enough for me. Not quite as comfortable as like Ford F-150 seats though. Anyways, moving on from there, a couple things that you get as standard with this vehicle that I thought I would point out. This is not everything, obviously, but these are some highlighted things that I thought you would find interesting that you get as standard. So you do get heated and ventilated front seats and a heated steering wheel. I did gloss over the heated and ventilated front seats. Your heated and ventilated front seat controls are here. Both get 3 levels of adjustability for, again, both of them. And then moving on from there, sorry, I glossed over that. You also get adaptive cruise control as standard, a head-up display system as standard, the 360-degree view camera system, the 7-speaker Bose sound system, the wireless charging pad, blind spot monitoring, automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, forward collision alert, the rear parking sensors, etc. Now I'm just going to throw the entire window sticker on screen. You can see this thing doesn't really have many options besides the paint color, the cameras, and the sunroof. You can take a look at everything you get as standard, but basically I'm just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2023 Canyon AT4X is spec'd is $58,990. And in my opinion, for this being, you know, the Mack Daddy Canyon, for lack of a better word, it's the top of the line, it's the top dog. I think for, you know, just under $59,000, I think this is a pretty darn good price. You get a very, very nice vehicle. It's very nicely spec'd. It's very capable. And for just under $59,000, I think it's a good deal because it's loaded up. You know, you get everything. But anyways, I do want to show you what we got going on in these rear seats before moving into the driving portion of the video. So opening up the door back here, you can see you get an automatic down window. It does go all the way down. You get a nicely padded armrest. You get some leather here. You get a spot you can set a water bottle. You get your door handle, and that kind of about does it for the door panel. This is what your rear seats look like, again, mimicking the front with the colors. I love the way that this interior looks. If you wanted to bring these seats up like this, you have this little thing here. You pull up on that, then you pull up on the seat. Then you get some partitioned storage space. You get your jack and all your stuff. You could set, you know, peanut butter here. You could set your jumper cables here. You can set whatever you want to size-wise, but for size reference, I would say you could fit some jumper cables right here. Closing this back up, if you just pull up on that, the seat will drop. Now, stepping on into what we got going on here in these rear seats. I am 5'9" and I am adjusted behind myself. You can see I still have like 4 or 5 inches, 3 to 5 inches of knee room here. Here's another view of my knee room. You get a seat back pocket behind the driver's seat. You get an OPU panel up top here. You get 2 cup holders, a spot you could set a phone in between those 2 cup holders, 2 HVAC vents, a USB-A port, a USB-C port. You get a seat back pocket behind the passenger seat. You get a center fold down armrest, give me a second, with 2 cup holders. It is nicely padded. Then you get your dome light up top here. That side gets an OPU panel, and then that door panel looks the same on that side as well. I will have to say, I almost feel like these second row seats are more comfortable than the front row seats. They just got really nice bolstering for my shoulders and for my upper back. They just feel very, very comfortable, and they honestly feel a little bit more padded than the front row seats. So if you have kids and you have like friends riding around with you, I think they will also be very comfortable behind you. If you're 5'9", if you're 6'3", and you're sitting somebody behind you who is also 6'3", I don't know how comfortable you would be, but you could make it work. But really, that's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the interior of this vehicle. So, you know, we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive, as I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I will see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, and now onto the driving portion of the video. Take a listen. It really accelerates very, very easily. And one thing I love about this engine is you can hear the turbo whistle loud and clear, and that is something I really enjoy about driving this, because it almost sounds like it's a diesel in a way. You know, listen. I'm not sure, it's definitely not going to pick up on GoPro, because I've done you know, videos with the Canyons and the Colorados with the high output engine, and it doesn't pick up on camera. But man, in person, listen, see if I'll try. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up that turbo spool, but man, it sounds so great. And this thing it rides very well. I know it has a 3-inch factory lift, so you may, you know, think that it doesn't drive all that great on the road, and that's just not the case. It's very, very smooth on road. It soaks up bumps very, very well. Yes, granted, you can hit certain bumps and it will jolt you around a little bit. You know what I mean? It is a truck after all, so there are, you know, kind of truck characteristics to it. But at the same time, it does actually handle bumps surprisingly well for having a 3-inch lift, for being an off-road oriented vehicle. Here's a nice little acceleration. One thing I find interesting about this vehicle, though, is it does not have a sport mode. Kind of interesting. I would have expected it to have a sport mode, but it does not have a sport mode. So just something that's kind of interesting that I figured I may point out. Brakes are great. It slows the vehicle down very, very nicely. And one thing about this is that it doesn't have that much body roll, and that's what's great about GM vehicles. Here's another acceleration. Here's 60%. These things are so quick. I mean, it's shocking sometimes when you get behind the wheel of this thing and you give it the beans, because you're like, wow, that is, you know, way quicker than I anticipated it to be. Now let's test the handling. These things handle way better than you would expect them to, and that's the thing about GM suspensions, is their suspensions are some of the best in the game, because, you know, like right now we're going over some potholes and stuff, and we're really not getting bounced around that much. And for having a factory 3-inch lift, that is amazing. So like I said, man, this thing, suspension is great. Handles very well for having a 3-inch lift. And even for just being a mid-sized truck, it handles really well. You know, you don't really notice that it has a lift. I mean, you can tell that it has a lift, but it doesn't drive quite like a lifted vehicle does. So that is something that personally I appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, I love the look of a lifted truck, but I don't necessarily love the way a lifted truck rides, and that is where this comes into play. Just like the TRX, just like the Raptor, they have the lift and they have, you know, the go of the lift, but they don't necessarily ride like lifted vehicles, especially the Raptor. The Raptor has a great suspension. The TRX suspension is still great, but it's definitely more, you know, truck-like. I'd say the Raptor has a better suspension than the TRX. And this is kind of like the Raptor's suspension, but I would say that this handles better than the Raptor does, body roll wise and stuff like that. Just soaks up bumps very well. But moving on from that, power, great. Bose sound system, great. It's probably one of the best sounding sound systems in mid-size trucks. It has, you know, everything that you want in a sound system. It's got the bass, it's got the clarity, it's got the volume. So definitely a win in the sound system department. And then also, capability wise, this is insanely capable. It's got a locking front differential, which is amazing. You know, a lot of, you know, off-road capable trucks, like they don't have that. In particular, the Ram TRX does not have a locking front axle, and this does. So this, you know, in certain aspects can be considered more capable than the TRX. I hate the auto stop start system, so I'm going to turn that button off. So I don't know, I'm not a fan of auto stop start in any sort of vehicle. Doesn't matter which system it is, they all just not my cup of tea. But overall, man, this is great driving, great accelerating. Suspension is great, the sound system is great. Now I'm going to do another little acceleration for you. This is a little bit above average acceleration. The transmission and this engine work together very, very well. Here's a bump. I'm gonna hit it on purpose. Soaked it up very, very nicely. The engine and transmission, again, work seamlessly with each other. Definitely appreciate that. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip ahead to a on-ramp acceleration. So let's skip into that now. Alrighty, hopping on to the highway. Here you go, floored. Very, very quick. I would say that it almost feels more powerful at like 60% throttle than it does at full throttle. I think that's kind of where the engine is kind of optimized, is kind of mid-range power rather than top-end power, which is a good thing, you know what I mean, for fuel economy wise, just for everyday day-to-day acceleration. So don't expect this thing to be a rocket 0 to 60, but when it comes to, you know, cruising here, just take a listen to what it sounds like at 60 before I blabble. Pretty well insulated from the outside world. You know, you can hear a little bit of the tires, but I mean, that's what you would expect with a mud terrain tire. I like when I get on it a little bit when it's very silent in here and I just hear that turbo spool. Just little things like that that I truly appreciate, being a car person, a truck person. But man, this thing is just a great little truck. It truly is. It cruises very well at high speeds. It cruises well through the city, and it's just a great truck. You know what I mean? It's a great truck if you don't want a half-ton truck. You don't want to deal with parking a half-ton truck and dealing with one every day. I'd say go out and take a look at one of these, because I think you'll be surprised just by how good it is. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I'm on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot get there without your support. If you enjoyed this video in any way, please, if you learned anything, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. The likes and comments look very good for my channel in the YouTube algorithm, and that helps me grow. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe. But again, that's it for today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.